Hello. I'm Stephen Watson here at Someday Farm. I'd just like to talk about something that comes up with the student of the martial art. This can happen in drills, but mostly I'll see it in form work. Baolu, what I'm thinking of here is Bumse or something where move A leads to move B, leads to move C, leads to move D, and so forth. And if a student is figuring out an error, a mistake, or adding to the skill or deepening their understanding of, let's say, move C, so maybe the teacher has just done a teaching on it and the student is saying, okay, let me work on C. They may just kind of start on move C, say, okay, let me try and get that correction. And generally I discourage that, or maybe what I would say is generally I'd encourage the student to start at move A somewhat earlier. Maybe the start of the form, maybe go back a few moves. I would say at least go back a few moves. If you're close enough to the start of the form, just start at the beginning of the form. And if you're not even close to the beginning of the form and you're sort of working on move W in your 26 move form, still starting at the beginning is good because the form is good for you and you could put some time in on the whole thing and work your way up to where you're trying to integrate this correction or understanding. But, again, we have time constraints. So if you're working on move W and you want to go back and start on move S and kind of work your way up to W, with a little bit of the lead up, I think that's fine. So this often gets missed. People just say, I know where the error is, and they just kind of start right at the error and they try and work through what they're working through. And they kind of miss the opportunity to have the form offer them a sense of sort of orientation with the situation and a chance to move and a chance to express themselves. And I teach Tai Chi Chuan, so quite often having practiced at least a few moves leading up to what it is you're there to work on is going to help you soften and smooth and relax and connect everything, because that's what we're doing in Tai Chi Chuan. In other words, the Tai Chi Chuan itself can help you be in the best state and place for you to get to now I'm on the move that I'm working on and trying to integrate that correction or broadening or deepening of knowledge. So I like to have people start ahead of the correction they're working on. Okay, and many people do, but many people do not start far enough ahead. So they're working on move M as in mother, and they'll start on L. So pretty much like as soon as they start, right, they're into where they need to work it. So I'd much rather have that person, start on J and work their way up to M, or start, as I said, start at A or start at D or F and work their way to M. But very often people will start right in the move or just before, so there's not quite enough opportunity for you to kind of settle in and orient yourself and feel some expression and find your posture and find your connection and so forth. So starting earlier, almost without fail, is advised. Starting even earlier than you want to, almost without fail, is always advised. And often, of course, this kind of reveals students' impatience, right? I don't want to start all the way at the end because I'm trying to work on this. I know what I'm working on, and it'll take me longer to get there. To which I tend to think, well, hey, if you're in such a hurry, maybe a bit more Tai Chi and a bit more slowing down of the pace of your life is exactly what's in order. So, you know what? Let's just start at the top and find our way to that movement. The other thing that happens, though, is that when people start a little bit earlier, they often, for example, they'll start on move A and they're working on move D. And so they'll kind of, without being fully present, do move A, move B, move C, and, now they arrive at the one that they're working on. In other words, they kind of do the lead-up moves, but they certainly don't do them with a lot of sincerity or care or attention. They don't value them because even though they are starting on A, what they're valuing is getting to move D. That's the one they're working on. That's the one the teacher just said, hey, here's the new lesson. Or they've just clicked like, oh, now I understand what you meant, and they want to get to D as fast as they can. So they start on A, but their mind is already on D or maybe C, D. So they're not really doing this well. You could say, yeah, they're doing it, but they're not doing it well, to which I will usually interject, do it again, do it again, do it again. I haven't seen you do it yet. I've just seen you kind of run through it. The value of the practice is to really do it well. So I don't want to have any iterations of not having done it well. In my experience, that's not going to be possible, but I don't want to, and I certainly want to have less iterations of having done it, less than fully presently, less than fully sincerely, less than fully valuing what it is I'm doing. So being present on move A will find me in move B. Being present in move B will find me well in move C. And then guess what? Wouldn't you know it? You end up on move D, the one that you have a new lesson or correction to integrate. Fantastic. Now, somebody that starts on move A and they're working on move F, that's great. And if they do move A, B, C, D, E, and they do those well, they arrive well as they could at move F, and that's the move they're working on. Great, that's exactly right. Then another issue can happen. This issue could have happened anyway, but I'm just laying it out this way in my chronological teaching. But I start on A, I do it great, I get to B, I do it very well, sincere, valuing it, patient, attentive, present. Then I get to move C, also did it fantastically, very much here in C and expressing myself. Get to D, have a really good experience with D. And then E, same thing, and then I arrive at F. This is the move I'm working on right now. Fantastic. But often that momentum is experienced due to the familiarity with A, B, C, D, E. And I actually kind of get caught up in this familiar flow. There's a pace that happens when I'm familiar, particularly on moves A, B, C, D, E, which we're always going to be much more familiar with than we are with T, U, V, W, things that I've learned later and I've practiced less. So the earlier moves are the moves that we're most likely to be very familiar with. And then we get caught up in stepping into a river and going with the course of that familiar river. That can be very pleasant. I like this. I like this flow. I'm supposed to value flow, I think, because it's Tai Chi. And this just carried me here, and I tried to do it well, and it certainly looked beautiful. But that momentum that's established by familiarity can take us too speedily into F, or into the move that I'm planning to work on today, or right now. And so I kind of arrive at a rate, a rhythm, a pace that doesn't really serve me when I get to the move I'm wanting to do. So, as usual, my lesson is slow down, slow down, slow down. I don't even know how slow you're going, but I think slower is going to be the answer for you. So yeah, I'd like to do A, B, C, rather than ABC, or ABC. Fair enough. Slow, and that kind of sounds like what we talk about in Tai Chi Chuan. Slower, slower, slower. I get it, you think it's important, that's fine. But more than simply going slowly coming into it is kind of recognizing that the familiarity of move by move by move by move that carries me to and thus through the move that I'm trying to work on, what it can really do is draw us out of it so that I don't spend enough time there to work on the correction. And so I'll see a student they arrive at the move flowingly, but they're kind of going too fast to do it well. If you have your weed whacker, but you're running with it, it's going to be very hard to do the job well at each of the places that you arrive with the weed whacker. So it stands to reason that stepping slowly is going to do it. And maybe if you have something that is a little bit more precise or in need of precision, you'd slow down even more or stand still and weed whack this way instead of maybe this way, or doing it this way. So what I generally will advise, I'm going through move A, and then I'm going through move B, and I'm going through move C, and then D. I'm going fast for you guys so it's not boring. And then E, and then pause. I'm feeling pretty good having gone through these. I know where I am. I'm not getting ahead of myself. My mind is not getting carried away with the momentum of the practice. I'm trying to visualize what I'm working on, where I am, what my intent is, what the correction was, what the errors I've been making were, so I try and, lifeguard against those, and then move F, or whatever move F is. So inviting a pause just before we get to the move that we're working on is incredibly important. So anyway, that's my thought for today, and hopefully you enjoy that. So please comment and share. Love. I'll post this on my Patreon, patreon.com/somedayfarm.